Absolutely nothing of the following drivel has been generated by AI. This week, a new Chromebox from Acer. Could spiral-shaped lenses be the future of clear vision? BitLocker cracked. An easy-to-repair MP3 player. The future's bright. The future's Nokia. And Ted sheds a tear for PUBG. Hello and welcome to the Tech Addicts Podcast. I am your charming and handsome host, who's neither of those things, Gareth, but charming and handsome from North Wales is my co-host, Ted. How are you feeling, Ted?
Hello, everyone. Don't ask me how I'm feeling. That's a big mistake. I'll take up the next 2 hours telling you how I'm feeling. No, I'm not feeling too well at the moment, and I'm going to go and see the doctor tomorrow, but we'll find out what's going on then. Hopefully it's nothing horribly sinister. Weather report from North Wales is that it's 9 degrees, cloudy, with some blue sky now and again. No rain at the moment, but it has been raining.
Dookie dookie. It's lovely here, actually. I've got the window open, the birds are tweeting. The cat walked past the window earlier on, looked in and decided, no, I'm not coming in, it's too nice. So, yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah. There's a song about that, isn't there? The cat crept in, crept out again. Anyway, if I suddenly leap away from the microphone and this doesn't work out, then I'll let you know. But I shall try my best to hang in there. And we'll go from there, shall we?
Well, if you suddenly need to get up and get some air or something about you, then
let
me know and I'll jibber jabber at the people until you're feeling rightly. Or if you just feel under the weather, we'll cut it short and release whatever we manage to capture.
Indeed. Quick, get on with it.
Okay, well, Jeremy Cartham has written in to say, I too was looking for a recent i5 or higher 16GB Chromebook. Because if you remember on the last show, I did have a bit of a rant about this, about how I cannot find a 16GB Chromebook for sale from one of the reputable type companies or one of the easy avenues here in the UK. It seems that they are only available in the States at the moment. Mm-hmm. But Jeremy agrees, and he could not find any models in the UK. His Chromebox has 16GB, but when he started monitoring the memory usage using diagnostics, he never saw the point. Never saw a point that he was using more than 8GB. Ever since Google optimized Chrome and Chrome OS with recent updates. In the end, he bought an i5 8GB Acer 516GE, which was highly recommended as a great all-rounder with a fab 16-inch screen and in a virtual 15-inch... Hang on a second. With a fab 16-inch screen in a virtually 15-inch and light too. Right, okay.
I think what he's saying is that you can't believe they've got a 15-inch screen into that, a 16-inch screen into it because it is so small.
Well, yeah, I think it's the same with my little Asus Chromebook as well. I do keep looking at it going, there's no way this is 15-inch. But it is. It's absolutely 15 inches. It's great what they managed to do these days. The only downside is the battery life tends to get around 6 hours compared to the 10 on other Chromebooks. And he got it for £849 from Acer. Yes, Jeremy, absolutely agree with you. But it's the price thing as well that was really irking me, because if I was to fly over to America, I'd be able to buy a 16GB Chromebook for the same, if not cheaper, than what we're paying in the UK pounds for an 8GB Chromebook. And there's just been a few times where my Chromebook is ground down to a halt for no real reason, and even open up in the process manager as well to have a look and see what's going on there has taken forever, and by the time you get it open, everything's back up and running again. And it might be because it's downloading an update or something, but There's just been the odd time where I've opened it up and it's gone, no, I'm not working today. I'm not doing this. And then a few minutes later, bingo, bango, bongo, we're on. And it's a bit like Windows Vista was, you know. It was like, I'll do stuff whenever I damn well feel like.
Yeah. Incidentally, I put that link in for Acer for 849 quid. I don't know that is where Jeremy got it from. He might have got it somewhere else cheaper, I don't know. But it's it's not a cheap Chromebook.
No, it's not, no. And the prices of Chromebooks are going up, and they're certainly not as cheap as they used to be, or as, you know, there's an argument to be said that you can still get more value buying a Windows laptop, and especially that you're paying a price for 16 gigabyte Windows laptop that might actually be something similar to an 8 gigabyte Chromebook. But going forward, we'll see what happens. We'll keep an eye on this and see if things change with newer versions of Chrome OS arriving. It would be nice to kind of future-proof yourself for the next few years by having 16 gigabytes, because inevitably operating systems just demand more and more as they're being worked on. And we see an awful lot of updates from Google for Chrome OS, which is very encouraging, but at the same time, it just makes me concerned that my 8 gigabytes isn't going to be enough maybe this time next year. Okie dokie. Moving on to news, Mews and views. We're going to start off actually with you, Ted, because you're quite interested in this idea, and I noticed that you maybe had a conversation with Mr. Steve Litchfield about this as well on MeWe. BitLocker is not quite as secure as some folks might believe, and you're paying extra for BitLocker to be included in your version of Windows 11, aren't you, Ted?
This is This is a story about some YouTuber who, and this has been posted in the Tech Radar Pro website, who tend to expose lots of little kind of quirky things like this about software that doesn't work properly. They've got hold of some YouTuber who has found a kind of backdoor process in order to exploit the data in BitLocker, but it's a really long-winded exploit. The technicalities. The short story, as they've summarised in this website, is that the communication lanes between the CPU and the external TPM are completely unencrypted on boot up. So if an attacker were to have an unpopulated connector on the motherboard that can read LPC bus data, they would be able to connect the Pico to it and have the device read the raw ones and zeros from the TPM. That would grant them access to the volume master key that's stored on the module, and thereby they can get the data about what is in the BitLocker application on the target device. So someone needs to really know what they're doing in order to exploit this, but no doubt BitLocker are onto this and they'll be fixing it as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's a bit of negative press, I suppose, but you know, if you really tap into it, you can find a hole somewhere. You know, nothing is completely robust when it comes to computers. Yeah. So that, you know, no matter how hard you think you have worked to keep something airtight, it's not. There's some weakness somewhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another bit of news that popped up was, Ted, you'll be quite interested in this because you'll be able to watch Mrs. Myrtle up the road hanging her washing out, because spiral-shaped lens provide clearer vision at distance and lighting conditions as well. Or better vision and lighting conditions at distance, which is quite interesting. It means you'll be able to see Mrs. Myrtle hanging her stockings out on a daily basis, more so than those glass ones.
Very nice, that would be too. I think the bottom line here about this story is that these scientists, these engineers, have designed a way in which they've made a lens, and I think that they've been particularly interested in contact lenses here, whereby instead of having to have them single distance or one distance, long or short, they've been able to cleverly work the structure of the lens so that it works. They liken it to thinking about watching water go down a sink. It's like a spiral. And as the water goes down the sink, it picks up the article we'll link to in the show notes actually links to a short video on YouTube which kind of explains it. It's all a bit technical, but the implications of it are clear, which are that in their case, obviously, as I say, contact lenses, but also ordinary glasses, and also lenses on cameras, and implications for going forward for mobile phone cameras, for example, that don't have much space to use, and they'll be able to focus more clearly on a range of distances rather than having to do telescope, the hybrid zooms and all that sort of thing, and the what's it called? The
telescopic lenses.
Not telescopic. What is it? The where they use mirrors.
Periscope.
Periscope, that's the one. So instead of using periscopes and using up space doing all that sort of thing, then possibly this could be used instead. Anyway, it's a bit of kind of scientific tech development, and I just thought it might be quite interesting to have a quick chat about and highlight.
Well, it kind of links in. Initially, obviously, I read through some of the article here, and I just thought about the implications for telescopes themselves, because I've been watching an awful lot of videos recently on the whole search for planet, the planet that might be away out in the far reaches of the solar system that they're now sort of racing to try and discover because they think it might be there. And they're sort of analysing some of the data that's been pulled in from various different telescopes and things. And the James Webb isn't quite, it's not designed for looking for that kind of thing, and doesn't use traditional telescope types. But it might give them a clearer picture to be able to look through if they were to put this on a larger scale and stick it into a telescope. And I'd be quite interested to see if this would actually assist that process of being able to find something like that.
Yeah, I think all sorts of applications. The spiral-shaped lens.
Pretty cool. All right, we're moving into, I thought of Thunderbirds as soon as I saw this, because I think it's something that you would see in Thunderbirds. There's a 31-year-old plan for an underwater generator that uses wave power. And it looks like something that you would expect to see in Thunderbirds, where it's a big piece of metal that waves back and forth, and as it does that, it generates electricity that goes into a sort of battery and then is passed off. And they're saying that one of these can generate round about 500 gigawatts of electricity, and if they were to put down several of them on the seabed as the tide comes in and goes out again, it would really help the amount of energy that is produced from hydroelectric methods. But it's the picture that just makes me giggle a wee bit, to be honest. It's one of those examples of, it's so silly looking, there's no way it could work, but it works. And it's how you would imagine it to look if it was just a big generator for under the water. Ted, what do you think of the wave roller, it's called?
It seems like a sideways dam, doesn't it? So if you have a water coming down from a waterfall, say, or using a water wheel where you've got falling water using gravity. Yeah. So gravity is the king, whereas with this one, it makes all you're looking for is movement, and we know that the sea moves pretty much all the time. Certainly, most of the time, there's waves, and in line with what the moon is doing and gravity's doing, and blah blah blah. And yeah, why not? The interesting thing here is that why it's taken 31 years before someone's actually said, right, let's do this then. because the idea was out there long before that. Apparently, it was some diver who had been diving on this shipwreck, and there'd been some loose stuff down on the shipwreck, and he'd seen it moving around and thought to himself, "Ooh, that's moving around, and we're not capturing the energy," and so came up with this idea. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how close it is to being productive. It's all a bit futuristic, I think. But yeah, why not? Free energy.
Well, yeah, I think of a video. There was a video I saw a wee while ago of a girl she was coming up the beach, and the wave was hitting her, knocking her down, and as the wave then, it would go up the beach and then come back down, and the pull would be so strong, she would roll back down the beach with the wave, and she was actually getting into trouble where she couldn't get out of the water. Mm-hmm. And a bunch of rescue guys or lifeguards ran in and tried to help, and then they had trouble with this force, this tidal force that was so strong, pulling them back and forward. And it was, it was once every, say, 10 seconds they were being dragged back, and then pull themselves up and pushed forward, and then dragged back. And that made me think that, the wave roller might actually work. But, being able to capture that much energy to make it viable is... And I wanted to see how much energy, one of these would generate based on, just going back and forth and back and forth. And I don't know, I wasn't able to get the actual... Because they haven't built one to be able to measure how much it brings in. But their whole idea is to have several of them working on the seabed, and they can go night and day as the tidal forces go in and out and in and out and in and out, because there's nothing more reliable than the tide, to be honest. And it'll just keep going, and the only thing you do is maintain it.
I'm not sure if on the diagram it looks like the top of it has to actually be outside of the water.
No, it doesn't. Right. There's a video further on down where they show there's like as the steps go down into the sea, as the shoreline drops off, they can put more and more down each step, so that, because the ones below, or you couldn't have them lying in tangent with each other, because the effect would be lessened the further forward you go, because the tidal forces would be disrupted by one, so they would have to have it at a lower level. Mm-hmm. So they just sort of show row and row, a bit like cinema seats going down the shoreline. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a possibility. But then you're having to build it on sand. And the shoreline is notoriously not terribly reliable, as we're seeing houses falling off into the sea frequently because of erosion and all that.
I think I read somewhere in this that they tried it 31 years ago in Portugal, and they came up, or am I thinking of something else? They came up against problems of erosion and wet and stuff going wrong because it's in the water, not because it didn't work, but the maintenance of the things because they're constantly in water.
Yeah. No, it does. It mentions Portugal in the article. But yeah, where they were to make a concrete base, they need to actually attach that to something solid way down. You can't just build a concrete base in the sand because it'll gradually wash away. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see what happens as it transpires.
They do all right with oil rigs, though, don't they? Oil rigs stay where they're supposed to be.
Well, they kind of float, really. They have giant buoyancy things that keep them in place, more so than relying.
I thought they were
some of them do touch the ground.
Okay.
Well, if the ones out in the North Sea, if it's really, really deep, then they are out on two big. They're like giant ships under the water that displace the water and keep it in place.
Okay.
Mm. All right, Ted. Sad news indeed. I'm going to let you lead on this and try not to get too emotional.
Publisher, Microsoft Publisher. They took away Front Page. I used to use Microsoft Front Page for my web stuff all the time, for this publication that I was involved in, and still am. And I had to learn how to use a different tool in order to do it, because Microsoft eventually dumped Front Page and I had to move on. I tried Expression Web, which they replaced it with, but that just wasn't the same. And the same thing's happened again now with Publisher. I use Microsoft Publisher all the time with my Village magazine editor hat on. And I've used it for decades, and I know how to use it inside out. And now Microsoft have decided that in 2026, October, in fact, the 13th of October, they're going to no longer support it. Now, that doesn't mean to say you can't use it after that, but it just means that they won't ongoingly support it. And that's what happened with Front Page as well. You could still actually use it, but, if something went wrong with it, then they wouldn't fix it, sort of thing. Anyway, it is still 2.5 years away, to be fair, and I've got time to think of something else. I have, over the years, considered what might happen if this were to happen, and I would just have to learn a new skill set. I've tried other tools. I've tried using Microsoft Word. When I approached Microsoft about this problem of what would happen if Publisher went away, they said, well, you can use Word. Well, I've tried to use Word, and it's just not the same. You don't get the whole range of desktop publishing tools that you do with Publisher in Word. It just doesn't work the same. And I've tried other tools. The only one I haven't tried is Adobe InDesign, which you've got to kind of pay for, which is okay because the organisation I'm doing it for would pay for it. But again, it would be learning a whole new skill set, which is just really tedious. As I say, over the years, I've tried lots of ways of getting around using Publisher, but I've always come back to it. And so, yeah, I've got 2.5 years to work something out or find some other way or buy a copy on a disc, as Mike Robbins, our friend, said. Don't use Microsoft 365 and use it via that route. Buy a disc, and so when it's not supported, you can still use it.
Well, yeah, but that enters into the problems if Windows gets updated to a point where there's an issue with it, or if there's some problem with another application as well, then you're kind of scuppered. But I think you'll probably find that there's going to be people now working on other options. There'll be enthusiasts who want to preserve it.
Well, Microsoft say that they're going to bake the tools into their other products. So, for example, I use a thing called WordArt, which works really well in Publisher. It's not in Word, but maybe, all things being equal, maybe Microsoft will then bake WordArt into Word. And if they do that, then okay. If they start to do what they say they're going to do, then I'll be able to stick with them, I guess, and use... Perhaps Word will be the way forward, but it's not at the moment.
It always depends on which way they do it as well. The amount of times you've seen people, or the likes of Microsoft, remove something and then say, yeah, we're going to bake them back in again. It's like, well, what do we do in the interim? Are they going to have everything up and running in the other tools by the time Publisher comes to an end, or they stop supporting Publisher? Or are they going to just forget about it until Publisher is done, and then they'll start sort of ruling out, oh, we've got this tool's going to go in, we're going to do that tool next month, and then this tool the next month, because that's not going to be useful. I remember they did that with remember Windows Movie Maker? There was a video editing client that came with Windows.
Oh, yeah.
And they got rid of that, much to many people's disappointment, because it was great for just doing home movies or whatever, just being able to chop a video in half or, cut off the ends or whatever. Basic trimming. And they got rid of that, and they were like, yeah, well, we're going to be putting stuff into the Photos app. It's like, but they're not there now, but you've got rid of Windows Movie Maker, and you had to go and find Windows Movie Maker in a software repository and then manually installed it if you wanted to use it, until such time as they started rolling out some of the features into Windows Photos, or whatever, the media player that they had it in. And even at that, there was only like 10% of all the features that Windows Movie Maker had had in it, and it was just frustrating. And I had to go out and buy myself a quick and simple tool. I think it's a quick and simple tool. I can't remember what it was. It was like Adobe Elements or something, or Premiere Elements, to be able to just edit my home movies and things.
But apparently, one of the things that Microsoft are claiming is that no one uses Publisher. So now, if you look down at the comments on this XDA developers site that I've linked to, I've actually written in with my comment there about, well, largely what I just said to you. But there's only 4 people on the back of that have actually said, and of course everyone's saying this is terrible and I use Publisher, but 4 people on a big XDA developer website, if lots of people did use it, then there'd be more than 4 comments, including mine, 3 if you take mine away. So perhaps Microsoft are right, they can't just ongoingly support a product that no one's using apart from a few.
Well, I think you're looking in the wrong place. I went onto Reddit and I typed in Publisher, and the first one that comes up is Microsoft, or sysadmin, actually, and they've announced it there, Microsoft Publisher discontinued, and there's 329 comments of people frustrated and annoying.
Okay. Is there anyone there saying, this is a good idea?
People are saying let front page rest in peace.
They've also got Designer, Microsoft Designer, but it's not the same. It's not a desktop publisher. It's more aimed at people, architects, people drawing stuff. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see. They've got 2.5 years to prove me wrong.
Yeah, people are going to start using PowerPoint instead.
Or I could take it as an opportunity to... No, PowerPoint won't do it. That hasn't got the tools either. I've tried that. What I was going to say was this could give me the opportunity to resign from my job, my role as editor. So I've done this for 22.5 years now. Someone else can bleeding well do it.
Someone said, first of all, they get rid of Atlas PageMaker. Now they're getting rid of Publisher. What are we supposed to do?
PageMaker? Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Atlas, yeah. I think I had that as well. It came free with a motherboard or something I bought.
There's a serif one as well someone used.
Ooh, don't mention that, no.
Okay.
Oh, it's Adobe PageMaker now as well.
Adobe, well, the one that if you're going to go Adobe, the one to do is InDesign. Because someone I was talking to about this a few years ago used InDesign, and that seems to be the professional tool. But you've got, I think, the pricing on it. I think they want you to pay monthly now and not just buy it, which is what everyone's doing. And I haven't priced it up for a while, but I could price it up now, couldn't I? While we talk about it live on air, buy now, InDesign. Come on then, how much is it? Oh, here we go. Oh no, that's Illustrator. InDesign, £21 a month, you see. It's not an insubstantial amount of money, and there's no way you can buy it by the looks of it. You've got to the only way you can use it is to pay £22 a month.
Well, what you could do is you go and pick up a copy of PageMaker 1.0 for Mac OS, 1985 for £495.
Mm-hmm.
No, that could be a solid solution.
I've also got this other one which I'm trying to learn called Affinity Publisher. So Affinity make Publisher. There's also another Affinity application called Affinity Photo, and I bought those some years ago when I was trying to use them. And I've reinstalled that. So I have got some things to try again, but it's just a pain in the arse, really.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning Affinity Publisher to me once before and going, I'm not learning to use that. I'm fine with Microsoft Publisher. New stuff. Right, moving into Hardline for the hardware. Speaking of old... website isn't working now. Yeah, okay. Sorry. The main article that I've linked to, I can't open for some reason. Maybe Ted can.
It's opening.
Samsung are going to re-release, it's actually re-release because I did a bit of research onto this, the Galaxy Tab S6 Lite, which they released in 2020, and then they redid a wee bit and changed a few of the specs in 2022. But in 2024, we're going to see another new Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite. It must just be a popular cheap tablet that has, I don't know, some sort of bridge between what you get in the S8 and what you get in the FE.
Or
maybe it's even less.
Or the A series.
Yeah.
It just seems a bit odd, doesn't it?
Well, I kind of agree with this because I still have the S6. My wife uses it, and it's one of the finest tablets I think I've ever used in my life. And I love sitting down and using it. I still prefer it over the S8 Plus. Or is the S8 I have? I can't remember which I have. One of the two. And the S7 Plus that I had before it. I always looked at my wife's tablet going, damn, I wish I had that. And that was one of the reasons why I got rid of the 7 Plus or the 7 Ultra or whatever 7 it was I had. Because it's the perfect size. And this Tab S6 Lite embodies what that tablet was. So I just think it really is the pinnacle of Samsung's tablet releasing.
It says no longer available. So you can't buy it direct from Samsung in the UK. But that article you linked to, which you can't open, does suggest it's China that they're doing this. It says China GSM Arena in China, so maybe it's not a global thing.
That's a bit sad.
Edition GSM China noted. There's 2 model numbers. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be on sale anymore in the UK anyway.
Oh, maybe they're phasing out the old one because the new one isn't out yet. So maybe they're going to fill this portal because people are looking for it. But I remember they did that with the Samsung Galaxy Tab S2. I bought it, the mini one. They relaunched it a couple of years after it came out, maybe when the S4 was coming out. But it had a wee bit more RAM and a newer processor in it. But it was the same thing, and I bought it, and I absolutely adored it for a wee while. And then I eventually got the S4. I think I got a better deal on it, so I got rid of the S2, or traded it in, or something like that.
Right.
But they sometimes go a couple of generations back, stick in a new processor and RAM, and maybe they've got a whole rake of them still sitting in stock, so just stick in the new stuff and
Tab
ship
S6
them
Lite.
out.
So on the GSM Arena website, they're listing it as being on Android 13. The presumably the last version of this. Android 13. No, this is 2020. It says.
Right, okay.
Android 13, One UI 5. But I don't know what it might be on higher by now. I don't know.
Well, it depends on the model number. So I've managed to get that Gadget.com. It must have just been a blip in the matrix, but it wouldn't open there. But it's the Samsung SM P620. If I go on to Samsung's official website, they have the SM P613, which is the one that they're currently offering that's no longer available. So they're not currently offering, sorry. They were offering for a while there. So if you go to GSM Arena and have a look at theirs, which model number do they say that they have?
They're talking about the 610 and the 615. The 610 is the Wi-Fi one, and 615 is the 4G one.
So now we're getting the 620,
right?
Which is the newer version, and it's got a 6 cores, 2 cores, so it's an 8-core processor, 2 gigahertz base frequency, 4 gigabytes of RAM, 740 milliamp hour battery. That's all you can really get out of the Geekbench listing that someone has found for this rubber device.
Interesting.
Yeah. And there's another 2 model numbers as well, the 625 and the 627. That's rocking up, but that should be an S6 Lite for 2024. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not that arrives in Europe or the UK. All right. Well, moving on to Chrome boxes, which we mentioned earlier on, because old Jeremy Hartham has one, and Ted, you're going to tell us about Acer's new one, which is fanless.
Yeah, fanless and silent, and you've got a theory about that, haven't you? Which I think you warned me off. I said some time ago, surely the thing to do with one of these little boxes is get one that doesn't make any noise. But you said that it has to make noise because otherwise it'll be as toasty hot when it's in operation, didn't you?
Well, yeah. Most things have a fan to cool it down,
but
whenever they're running at speed.
Particularly because it's so small. That's the thing. But anyway, this is a brand new Acer Chromebox Mini, which has been released for this year, and it's they reckon that it's going to be announced at MWC, and it's coming along. It's got a 128 gigabytes of storage, 16 gigs of RAM. Although there is a 128 gigabyte version of storage version as well, USB-C, display port, blah 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 blah, the usual stuff. 5 USB 3.2 Gen 1 A ports. The Bluetooth is 5.2. Well, that's not bang up to date, is it? The CPU is dual core or 4 core 6 watt Intel Jasper Lake, and 16 gigs of RAM, or blah blah blah. And the other highlights include that it's military grade rated specifications. So I hadn't clocked that before. I didn't realise that it was military grade. They're making this really robust, aren't they, for people that are going to bung them about and chuck them around builders' yards. I still think that there's a whole kind of problem with this whole mini PC thing, even since I bought one and had a go with it, as you know, in the last couple of years. Because whatever you do with it, you're still going to need a monitor. Hot desking for people at work is okay, but you know, I mean, a laptop is not that much bigger than a Chromebox or a mini PC that I got, is it?
Yeah. I think this does have a use case scenario where it's probably designed more for small offices or something like that. They're going to be running Google Docs and really not much else, maybe a bit of interfacing and that sort of thing. So you don't have to worry about a big computer on a desk or traipsing around with a laptop. You can just attach this to the back of the screen, essentially, and have a working computer with a minimalistic presence.
I think it's a bit of a tall order to run a business of any size, really, from Chrome OS, don't you?
Yeah. Well, but you get into the whole Google Workplace thing, or whatever they call it again. I can't remember. And, they can handle the websites, and someone who's running an Etsy business or something like that can do everything through this. And it costs, £200 probably to buy it and just stick it onto a screen that you happen to have knocking about.
And then you install Parallels in order to run your Microsoft stuff.
I'd probably struggle with those sorts of things. Or classrooms can have them as well, and it'll maybe run Minecraft education or something like that. Right. And stick it in a school, and they can learn some of those websites that do coding and stuff.
Okay.
Having been through around schools recently, I was having a look at the little bits of hardware that they had sitting on desks that the kids sit down in their computer classes and learn from, and some of them had big old computers that said, what was it? I've forgotten the name of the brand. Began with Comp.
CompuServe.
Compura, there's one for you. Compaq. Yeah.
Oh,
those sorts of
Compaq with a Q.
Yeah. Right. Those kind of desktop machines, or else you go into another school and they've got these little teeny tiny ones that you'd see in the civil service or around various offices, big offices that just basically allow a web interface and a wee bit of extra power for running something or compiling something. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it'll work absolutely for schools and libraries and that sort of thing around the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
developing nations.
The next one is Robbie going off on one again in Chrome Unboxed, because he reckons that he and his team have discovered some code in the builds of Chrome OS going forward, which have suggested to them that Google might be making a new Pixel book.
Right.
It's a bit of even he agrees it's a bit of a long shot. It's got a code name of XOL, capital X, and then lowercase OL. And he and his team reckons that there's enough signs in there and enough evidence in there to suggest that yes, Google might not be out of the hardware Chromebook business, and they might be bringing out a new Pixel book whenever, coming soon sometime. So it's just complete speculation, I think, and it's more that Robbie's really, really hoping this. He got last week. I don't know if you saw the article he put through. He did a short video on using a Pixel book in 2024, and someone had given the Office one or something, and he set it up to use himself, and he was blown away by it. Still, as I am here with my one, and it worked really well. But anyway, yeah, on the back of that, he's obviously hoping there's going to be a new one.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, it's wishful thinking, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The one thing that got me on this was the assistant key built in, which made me think that it was a full on. They were getting rid of the. I think on most keyboards it would be the caps lock, and putting the assistant key there, which is that's called the everything key, isn't it, on Chromebooks now? But I was using the Pixel the other day, and I went and I hit the search button on the Google thing, and a wee pop-up came up. I didn't have time to read it because I was searching for something quite quickly, but it said something about how it was getting rid of the assistant function and putting Google search back. And I thought, oh my word,
No, they're getting rid of Assistant and they're putting Gemini in its place. That's the game plan that Google are on. In fact, in America, Gemini has now been rolled out to Android devices and Windows, I think. So it's Gemini that is going to replace the Google Assistant. Google Assistant is just going to be taken away, and Gemini is going to be the thing.
I don't think anyone's going to cry at the idea that Google Assistant's been taken away.
No, but it's just the usual thing with Google, isn't it? They start things off and they run with it, then bury it and move on to something else.
Well, as long as it's a seamless transfer, I can't wait for Assistant to be replaced on Google Home products, because it's tragic how poor that works. It really is very, very bad. It can't do anything. If I set an alarm the other day for, was it a quarter? I have to pick up my son up at 1:45. So I said set an alarm for 1:45, and it said your alarm has been set for 1:15.
Brilliant.
But I didn't ask for that. What? That's half an hour early. And it did set up for the UK, so it should absolutely know the dialect that we use. I know in America they tend not to use 1:45 as a terminology for telling the time, and I have met with people who have turned up 30 minutes late going, I thought you said 1:15, and said no, 1:45, and he went, I don't know what that means.
Well, it might be because it's building in a 30-minute warning ahead of the event.
No, because then whenever I said set it up for 1:45, it went, okay, set up for 1:45. And it went off at 1:45.
Right.
So it doesn't understand certain things, and then it gets the wrong thing all the time. I could go on and on about how Google Assistant constantly lets me down, and I hope Gemini comes in and, a bit like Queeg in that Red Dwarf episode, kicks bottom.
Lost on me. Good.
Okay, coming up next is easy to repair knockoff of the original iPod. I did watch some of the videos on this, and I can't say that I would really actually want one, but I can understand it, and I am enthusiastic about the idea that people are trying to take back what they need. This is effectively a dumb device that just plays your music. It takes an SD card, you slot it in the side, full of your own music, and it plays the music. It's got a 3.5mm headphone jack. It's got a nice iPod-esque scroll wheel on the front, and a very familiar interface that feels very iPod-y to be able to play back. It's called the Tangara, which I vaguely remember is the type of train that they have in Sydney.
Oh, right.
For tootling you about town, their tram system type thing. But I don't know. I thought Tangara was actually a place in Africa, but perhaps it's not. Maybe it's another
Tangier.
name. No. Tongola, I think maybe I'm thinking of. Maybe
Okay.
But yeah, this is a pretty nice looking little device that you can play around with. You can fix, you can upgrade, you can hack yourself. I think it runs C++, or the operating system's written in C++, so you can actually do stuff with it. You can 3D print your own cases for it as well, and change your cases depending on how you feel, with easy to use screws. And it just seems to be a direct response to everything that we're seeing, with stuff being locked down, stuff not being accessible, you not being able to put things in the right place, and having someone meddle around with your library outside of the home. I don't think it contains Wi-Fi. I think it's got Bluetooth as well. Yes, it can connect to your AirPods, and it looks really quite cool. I don't think it's a particularly attractive little device. What do you think, Ted?
249 Australian dollars. How much is that in pounds? You can work that out. I thought you might know off the top of your head because you've been much travelled. But
well, the exchange rate does change frequently.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, I think it looks absolutely great. I'm all for this. It's like a Fairphone, but it's an iPod, and yeah, they've shown explosion diagrams here of what you can take it apart and replace bits of it, and as you say, you can 3D print stuff if you want to. I think this is an absolute winner. I'm not sure how popular it'll be, although the young kids now seem to be going for, back to ordinary cameras and away from phone cameras, and perhaps it will be successful, and it'll be the first of many. This is on a Kickstarter campaign, incidentally. It's, I don't know if it's guaranteed to be made, but how much is it?
£130.
130 quid. It seems like quite a lot of money for a kind of bit of plastic, I suppose. I like the fact that it's got Bluetooth, because the thing that I used to not like very much about my iPod back in the day was I couldn't send out the audio to a speaker. I had to plug in a 3.5mm whatever. I mean, you could plug the 3.5mm into a speaker, but presumably this has not got a 3.5mm audio jack, although you could add one, couldn't you? Does it? Where is it?
On the top.
Oh, yeah, so it is. Right, okay, I'm in for this. What's that on the bottom? Is that a USB-C? Did you mention that?
No, I didn't. I'm just having a quick look. Yeah, it is. It's USB Type-C.
Right,
yeah.
So even better. I like this, but I think it's a bit... Just a little... 99 quid. That's where it should be.
Probably, yeah. It'll probably be 130 for the Kickstarter campaign, and then whenever it goes into production, they'll maybe put that up to maybe 150 or so. Mm-hmm. But I think that's probably in line with the recent prices going up on absolutely everything from a tin of beans to your house. It's £99 is now 150 quid.
Yeah. The screen also looks like it's very low resolution, doesn't it? But then presumably somewhere down the line you could replace that with one that is not. And battery.
I did see the battery there for a second. Upgradable battery, and it's a 2,200 milliamp hour battery.
Which would be fine for those kind of demands, wouldn't it? So I like this. Yeah, I want one. I'll get one when it's 99 quid.
I like it as well. It's just not a form factor that I'm a particular fan of. I think it looks, seeing it in the person's hand in white, It looks pretty cool, but I think I would want a wee bit more. You know, I always preferred I was really into portable media players, and that's one of the reasons why I got into tech so much, because I loved them. I remember the iRiver PMP 130.
Yeah.
It was an absolute travesty of a device. It was awful to use.
I remember
but the
iRiver.
actual...
I'd forgotten about iRiver. Yeah, they were really big at one time, weren't they?
They were, yeah. And then Apple just killed them off with the iPod. But they put up a good fight for a while. But some of the devices they were putting out were really cool, with little kickstands and hand grips.
Yeah.
It's just the operating systems on them were really awful to use. And that's the killer feature here, is it's got to have a really simple operating system that just works.
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts. No, oh, don't do that. There's a bug here that we can't fix. None of that. It just needs to work and play back your music in the codec that you prefer.
Yeah, and it will stand and fall on whether the kids pick up on it, won't it? I think, like I was saying earlier, if because on the face of it, this is not going to really do very much that your phone won't do. In fact, it's not going to do anything your phone can't do. So it depends on whether the buzz of having a standalone...
Depending on your phone.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. But I think it would depend on the buzz, whether it takes off and the kids buy them, and it suddenly becomes a thing to have an iPod again, as opposed to just a mobile phone that does everything.
Yeah. Well, I think, you're absolutely right. The kids are... looking back with a bit of nostalgia at some of the things that we had, that we kind of discarded and took up the new and exciting way of being able to do stuff. But now that new and exciting way of doing stuff is actually being clamped down, and you're not able to have the freedom that you used to have. I think that there's room in the market for these sorts of things to thrive, to be able to keep your stuff away from prying eyes. But then, because kids have been subscribed to Spotify for so long, they're going to go, what can I play on this now that I've got it? I don't own any MP3s. And therefore, they're all going to become pirates. Arr.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I meant to take these two next things out because they're so boring. And I forgot. This is...
Well, we'll go over them to see.
Okay.
We'll let the listener decide, because they have absolutely no say. Right, the Xiaomi Smart Band 8 Pro has been priced ahead of its launch, and it's going to be priced at €89.
Good price. Sorry. There's sarcasm slipping through.
It is. This is when the Smart Band 1 came out, it was what, £20?
They're just so boring, aren't they? I remember buying a Xiaomi Smart Band. It was 30 odd quid or something, and it's just so boring. But they're starting now to look as though they do a lot more, like, with watch faces on them. And what's the difference between this and a proper smartwatch? Well, certainly the prices are different, isn't it?
It is. It's gone up, but that's because it's got a built-in laser cutter that can cut through bone.
Yes.
It's got a 1.74-inch AMOLED screen with 60 hertz, 600 nits. And we'll move on to the next story.
Really boring, isn't it?
It is pretty boring.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Moto Watch 40 has been announced, and it's another fitness tracker, but it's by Ted's beloved Motorola company, and it's going to be
and therefore it's more
$65.
attractive.
It's a fitness tracker, and it does stuff.
They brought out the Watch 70 in last year. We spoke briefly about it on the show, and this is a cheaper version of that. This is the Watch 40, and it's just a kind of cut down spec version of that. Really, I told you this was boring. Let's move on.
1.57-inch LCD with 85 watch face options.
But not Wear OS or anything, so it's locked down to whatever they offer you.
Yeah, IP67.
Whose idea was this?
I don't know. We'll just move on. Phone Zone. Oh, this is exciting now. We have got our first image of what is potentially going to be the new Pixel Fold 2.
Oh, yeah.
and it shows an extra camera.
More importantly, it makes it so that it's going to wobble more. One of the good things about the Pixel, I think, has been that if you put it down on a desk, that thing that is the camera, what's it on the back, makes it so it doesn't wobble around. Well, if this is right, this kind of render of this photograph from Android Authority, it's suddenly going to be off to one side and it's going to wobble, I reckon. Well, it might not, I suppose.
No, I think you're right. Yeah. Perhaps the case that comes with it will have another protrusion to sort of balance out the lopsidedness of that bulge. Is that right? The lopsided? No. Well, well, yeah, we'll just go with that.
Yeah.
But it's early days.
What's the extra camera then? Remember, there's another camera resulting in more blah blah blah. Did you pick up on what the other camera is?
No, I don't think they can really tell from that picture.
A main lens, an ultra wide, and a telephoto. So what's the proper Pixel got then? Pixel Fold got? I don't know. I'm not really up on camera stuff, as you may have noticed.
And also, it's too early to speculate. People can look at those and go, oh, well, this has obviously got to be an infrared or a telescopic or something. But no, we don't know. It's just a picture of some fascias. Yeah,
but this quite often happens, doesn't it? You know, someone spots it on a tube train or something. It's quite funny how... And you get these purposeful leaks which... so-and-so have accidentally leaked some of this information. They took it down straight away, but we've captured it, and now it's in archive.com. and it's just a kind of marketing crap trap, isn't it?
Yeah. All right, well, moving on to some news that we addressed 2 weeks ago. Ted, you were most upset at the idea that the Nokia brand was possibly going away from HMD's hardware lineup, and they were going to start manufacturing HMD devices or branded devices as opposed to having the Nokia brand. But that apparently is not quite right, and HMD Global are confirming that there will be new Nokia phones on the horizon. Well, should we start dancing in the streets and burning our bras?
They don't actually say that. If you read the deal with Nokia and HMD doesn't end until 2026, right? There's still 2 years left of it. And what HMD have said here is that you will continue to see Nokia phones. That's it. That's their statement. And so that might mean you'll continue to see Nokia phones between now and 2026. Doesn't necessarily mean that ongoingly we will continue after then to produce Nokia phones. It could be that then that they'll stop making Nokia phones. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it's quite good news in that they will continue to make them at least until 2026. Because there's not been a new Nokia flagship since the XR21, I don't think, has there? I think...
There's also the potential this could be a bit of damage control. With the news that came out 2 weeks ago, I'm sure people are going, why would I buy a new Nokia then if they're going away? You know, will I not have support? Will I not be able to get a phone replaced if something goes wrong with it? What happens to manufacturers' warranties? You know, Nokia's probably come out and gone, no, wait, hang on. You're going to continue to see new Nokia phones. Don't worry, we're still here. We're not going away.
Right. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I still think it would be quite interesting to see what they do with it, with the brand, now that we know... Sorry, with the HMD brand. Now that we know that they're not going to just copy Nokia devices, current devices. So, yeah.
Yeah. Possibly. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on this.
I like Nokia
going forward, and offer some silly commentary as it comes along.
Indeed.
Next up is this. Yeah. Okay. This had the potential to be a good story, but it turned out to be a really crap story. Straight off the bat, this is the one about how you're going to be able to use your Samsung Galaxy smartphone as your PC's webcam. Provided there are two things going on. You have a Samsung Galaxy smartphone. If you don't have a Samsung Galaxy smartphone, then you're shit out of luck. But also, if you have a Samsung Galaxy smartphone and you have a Wi-Fi network that your computer is attached to, then you can do this. if you, like me, don't have Wi-Fi in your desktop PC and rely entirely on Ethernet because it's way the hell more reliable, then you won't be able to do this. So, how do you like them apples?
You won't. You also won't be able to do it if you haven't got a Samsung laptop at the moment, because it's only going to work with their own hardware. The Samsung Galaxy Book series, which it'll work with, and you've got to be running Windows 11 24H1, so it's got to be bang up to date, and it's not available yet, and it's coming soon, and eventually the word is that they're working with Microsoft in order to get this out more broadly, so that it plugs into the phone link system, Microsoft's phone link software, and so it will open up to more devices and more. It's I think Microsoft want this to work with not just Samsung stuff eventually, but this is the first stage. But I quite like the fact that my desktop computer hasn't got a camera. It can't be turned on accidentally or anything. So, in a sense, this is quite a good idea. If you want to use your camera for something, for doing a Zoom meeting or whatever, you then set it up to do that. You don't always have a camera kind of looking at you and wondering if it's on or not. So there's that.
Well, it also allows you to utilise a better camera as well, because notoriously webcams are crap. But it's something that needs to be rolled out to all, and Samsung can't just have the exclusivity here. You know, if you've got a Pixel sitting there and you don't have a webcam, but you need to connect it, you can't because of these flipping limitations that Microsoft are quite happy to install.
You can with a Chromebook.
You can, but you might not have a Chromebook. No. So you have to run out and get an 8 gigabyte Chromebook and bring it home.
Yeah. Anyway, eventually they will open it up. So, it will come.
But it's something that should be there from the word go and then be working on, because especially during COVID, people needed it. Mm-hmm. Although people did profiteer, I did notice that I did an unboxing of a webcam. A crap unboxing, I will fully admit, so years ago. And when COVID hit, overnight, it started generating some serious coin, because everyone was like, ooh, the Anchor webcam that's like 10 quid or something off Amazon. Is it any good? Because people were working from home. And that got like 200,000 views in a couple of days or weeks or whatever. It's like, oh, blimey, crikey, I can buy 20 of them now. But you couldn't buy them, actually. They sold out, and the price went up, Anyway, right, moving on. Microsoft Store now lets you instantly try games without downloading them. And it might mean that...
That sounds familiar.
It is. It's going to be crappy games, isn't it? Given the... go on the Tech Radar website and have a look. And there's Boeing FRVR, which looks... shit. Amazing Squares, Mahjong. So very simple little in-browser games that you can run. You can try them before you download them. Great.
Yeah, by copying Google.
I still haven't tried that yet, actually. I keep getting notifications that such and such a game is available for desktop. And it's a really uninspiring game. You know, where you've got Steam on your desktop, quite why you would want to go back, unless you have one of those some sort of little Chrome box type thing, like a really lightweight, flimsy computer that needs minimal specifications to run. Then I don't see the point in running something like that.
No,
he proclaims. Right, Microsoft are considering launching a number of their Xbox exclusive games on the PlayStation. And this is in direct response to my little ramble a couple of weeks ago about how Microsoft are sort of causing themselves to... they're backing themselves into a corner where they're not going to be able to earn enough money from Xbox Live subscriptions alone. Xbox Game Pass subscriptions alone. So they will start selling their games on PlayStation 5. There was a lot of speculation that Starfield and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle were going to be coming to the PlayStation 5. However, Phil I was about to say Spector. Is it Phil Spector?
He's a
I
singer.
can't remember his name. Yeah, he was the one who murdered someone.
Oh, was he? I thought he was a singer in the 80s. Phil Spector? I think of someone else.
Yeah, he's the one that's got a microphone hairdo. And Phil Spector, he murdered someone.
Did he?
Who was it? He was up in court.
Oh, right.
Phil Spencer? Is that his name? I don't know. Some dude from Microsoft came forward and went, yeah, we're not going to be putting out Indiana Jones or Starfield on the PS5. But other Xbox games will be arriving on the PS5. We're going to keep certain exclusivity for various ones. And I'm trying to have a look and see if I can find what 4 games they are bringing to the PlayStation happen to be. Sea of Thieves and Grounded are likely to be the 2 main titles, and then 2 smaller titles like Hi-Fi Rush or Pentiment. Pentiment? It's like Sentiment, but with a P. So, yeah, wow. 4 games are coming to the PlayStation 5, probably because they're not selling particularly well on the Xbox. And they need a little bit of extra. I'm going to look up Phil Spector.
I'm doing that now, and I can't find it. Who did he kill? Murder of Lana Clarkson.
That's the one, Lana Clarkson, yes.
Right.
Do you remember now?
No, who's Lana Clarkson? Who was
She
she?
was
Who
an
was?
actress. Or no, she was a singer.
A singer, okay. Oh, yeah. No, I don't remember any of that.
But then he died a couple of years ago as well, didn't he, Phil Spector?
He died in prison, age 81, it said.
Yeah. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the guy from Microsoft.
No.
Phil Spector and Phil Spencer, if that's his name, are 2 different people.
Mm-hmm.
Not to get confused. All right. Moving into Flap Your Trap About an App. Actually, Ted, any thoughts on that? Any cares or nah?
What, on your gaming thing? No, not at all.
Okay. Microsoft's CC Cleaner style PC Manager for Windows 11 is now available via the store.
No, it
Oh,
isn't.
it's not?
Well, it isn't for me. I think it's in America. Have you tried to install it? When I go to the store, the PC manager, sorry, the Microsoft Store thingy on my computer, it pops up the window showing it to me, but there's no install button, and I can only assume that it's not available outside America yet.
Ah, that is true. It is not available here for me to be installed. It's weirdly blank.
Yeah, but it looks quite interesting because they're taking on CCleaner with it, and hopefully it won't get buggy like CCleaner did.
Oh no, CCleaner was guilty of much more than being buggy.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to be kind. But the PC Manager software looks like it has got potential. Although a subsequent story they got someone using it on XDA developers, and they said that it has the potential to really slow down your PC when you've got it running. So it obviously needs some honing, even for those that have got it. It is going to be available for Windows 10 and Windows 11. But yeah, just not yet. I wanted to play with that and see what it did, but no chance.
In true Bill Gates form, perhaps that's why the install button is now missing, and they're not ready to ship it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to watch that video again, actually. Was it Windows 95?
Oh, yeah.
The public debut, and it gets the blue screen of death, and says, this is the reason why we're not shipping it just yet. And it's one of those beautiful moments where he's so clued in, so on top of things, that he got just the right answer and got a big laugh out of what was potentially going to be an absolute kick in the balls for Windows.
Yeah. I'd forgotten all about that.
Yeah. I'll watch that afterwards. All right. Copilot will soon explain what you're reading in Notepad. Notepad, an application that is crucial to Windows, but it's one that I'm getting really annoyed with because it seems to have tabs or something. I noticed the other day it's got tabs for everything that I've opened for, I don't know, the last 6 months or something, all across the top. Yeah. All the text files that I've opened are still sitting there. Oh, can't find the log file. Right, okay, I can delete that.
I never use Notepad. Where is it? I can't find it. Is it under Windows Accessories or something? Oh yeah, Windows Accessories. Oh yeah. No. That's Notepad. Oh, it is Notepad. I thought this was about WordPad. Well, I thought Notepad was being axed.
Oh, don't say that. No, Notepad's much better than WordPad.
Which was the one they were axing then? Was that WordPad?
I don't know. They can get rid of WordPad. I don't think anyone uses it. But I think they were looking to try to supersede Notepad with WordPad. And people said, don't touch my beloved Notepad. But Notepad now has tabs in it along the top where it keeps everything that you've ever opened in a text file open.
Really?
So you can refer back. And I'm going through them, and yeah, they're really old. I only just noticed it the other day. All logs from whenever I was setting up my AMD graphics card. That was yonks ago. No, yonks.
I think I've lost the plot on this because I don't see any tabs in my Notepad. Oh no, it's a Windows 11 thing, isn't it? So
probably.
Yeah, I'm on Windows 10 here. So what they're saying anyway in this thing is that and also the snipping tool, which used to be called cut and paste or something, didn't it? Snip and sketch. They're going to let you annotate screenshots with that as well. So when you've taken a screenshot, you can right mouse it and then say explain with Copilot, and then it does you a kind of Gemini style Copilot style thingy, and gives you a summary. The usual AI claptrap. And yeah, you see that Notepad, those screenshots there of Notepad looks nothing like mine. There must be a big difference. After we've finished, I'll get my Windows 11 laptop out and see how different it is. Yeah.
Right, yeah, I hadn't really thought of that until I noticed the tabs at the top. But yeah, I'm just looking at the snipping tool as well. It's come along, yeah. This could be potentially a good change.
AI everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And describing pictures. That's cool.
Well, we're also getting AI in Audacity as well. That's going to get AI transcription and noise suppression, which would be quite interesting. Have you ever felt the need to have that in Audacity?
The feature that is attractive here is the podcast transcription feature. That's why I focused in on this. So all of that stuff, the other stuff it does, and incidentally, this isn't Audacity doing this. It's a plug-in by this firm called OpenVino. So you need to go to GitHub or something and install it, sideload it, and whatever. But once you've got it installed, it does do a bunch of stuff that Audacity doesn't do routinely. And yeah, the one that I was focusing on was the podcast transcription, which Apple announced, I think last month or the month before, that they were doing with Apple Podcasts, where you can get a full transcription of the whole podcast. Not only can you be bored to death listening to Gareth and I, but you can then read what we said afterwards. So,
well, the potential for it is actually quite good, because if you decide that you don't like my voice and you're sick of it, then you could load the transcription into an AI voice generator and have someone else host the show.
Indeed.
Couldn't you? So you could have Ted doing both sides.
Potentially. The thing is, though, that this is in the hands of the creator. So it's inside Audacity once you put the plugin in, and it then saves the data into a file. Now, how you get that file into an RSS reader or podcast catcher or whatever it is, I don't know. I'd need to read more about it to see how you do it, but I haven't done it. It looks like it's quite complicated to get set up, and I'm a bit of a chicken.
I'll maybe have a go with it later on, but I can't promise anything. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't want to mess up Audacity. I tried doing that once before, where I think it was the Bruce Campbell one, the Bruce Campbell podcast I did a number of years ago, and I was told that one of the best things you could do is to transcribe the podcast, for subtitles for the YouTube videos, because it helps people with audio issues to find your podcast and listen to it and enjoy it more. But also you can put it into the post that you put onto your website, and Google's Spiderbots will be able to pull out more phrases and things like that. So it populates their searches a lot better. So if you get someone searching for Maniac Cop 3 Badge of Silence, they're not that Bruce is in that, but they'll be able to find that you talked about it on this podcast.
Oh, right.
At some stage.
Okay. Yeah. Good stuff.
It helps get more search results. Mm-hmm. Okay. A couple of podcasts ago, Ted, you mentioned the Files app. I can't remember if it was actually in the podcast or it was before or after. And then you sent me a link to it to have a play with. And there's now an article over on XDA about the fantastic File Explorer alternative on Windows 11. And this is the Files app. Tell us about how you found it first.
I couldn't get it working at all. Well, no, I got it working. I got it up, and it offered to take over from File Explorer, and I said yes to that. And then as soon as I started trying to move stuff around or use the tabs or the windows that it created, this list view that it's talking about in this article, Files app now has its own list view for easier navigation. I couldn't find that. And I thought to myself, well, I'm hoping that Gareth has got better luck with this than me, because it just seemed like it felt as though it was like built for geeks and nerds who kind of knew how to find their way around new software from somewhere like GitHub, instead of being a user-friendly kind of front end that gives you a nice tutorial. Normally I don't need a tutorial with things, but with this one I felt I did. So tell me what you found about when you were using it.
I've always been looking for a secondary file explorer, because I find the one that's built into Windows 11 to be somewhat buggy. I've noticed that it can stumble and crash quite frequently whenever it's handling large volumes of data, and I would be moving stuff around from hard disk to hard disk across the network to Synology and all that kind of stuff, and Windows is like, oh, this is hard work, and eventually can even just collapse. And I've tried other ones. I can't remember the name of one in particular that I really liked, but it was dead expensive. It was like Directory Master or something, and I used the 1 month trial that they had and thought it was so robust and feature packed. But then whenever I went to register, it was like 70 quid for the year or something. I thought, no. I'll just deal with the crashes then. I'm not spending that. So this came along, and I haven't been using it as much as I thought I might have, because I haven't been in front of my computer for any length of time, and also I need to now go in and have to set up all of my network spaces and places and things and cloud drives, which this accepts, but I just haven't been bothered to do that. So I haven't used it on a daily basis yet, but I have done a wee bit of moving around in this, that and the other. And I'm actually just noticing that the network places are there. They weren't there the other day, but they are there today. Oh, right, okay. The cloud drives aren't there, but... No, wait, hang on a second. No, my Google Drive is there too. My P-Cloud isn't there, but that's the only thing I need to set up. That didn't happen the other day, so maybe there's been some sort of update, and it's been able to read the information out of my Windows File Explorer and transport it into this Files app. So, terrific. I will now try and make this my default Files app and see how I go with it. But I had been moving stuff around, and it seems to be a bit more stable. I haven't noticed any crashes where I've had to move maybe 10,000 pictures from one folder to another folder, and Windows File Explorer is like, oh, well, you can access this at a later date because I'm busy at the moment. But yeah, there's loads of little options and things like that, and I hope there's just a whole rake more that you can do with this. And I'll let you know for the next couple of months as to how well I get on with it.
I'll try again, and I'll also try on Windows 11 again, because this was all on Windows 10. So maybe it's going to be a better experience on 11.
Yeah. It's now up to version 3.2.
Yeah.
So perhaps when I first put it, maybe there's a bunch of fixes and things that they've put in the article here. So it must be able to scrape all the information out of File Explorer. Yeah. So yeah, that looks good going forward, and it's free, which is one of the big things.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is where you got to be priced these days to be able to succeed. Okay, moving on. YouTube. The new Shorts feature is a direct attack on TikTok. Ted, you're best suited to talk about this because you're a TikTok hound, aren't you?
Well, I certainly use TikTok. YouTube Shorts is adding a feature that TikTok's had forever, including the ability to remix music videos for short form content creation. So if you're making a video like you do at the moment in TikTok, in YouTube Shorts, they're going to let you play about with the music behind the video, which they haven't done up to now. I think they've been frightened of kind of rights on music and stuff like that. You can tweak different settings on full-length music videos to create other stuff as well, like cutting, and there's just a load of sound stuff going on there that you mix in with your video. And as I say, TikTok have had this all along. However, they do point out that not all music videos are available for remixing, as some artists or music labels may have restricted their material. So I guess that they're all going to jump onto that bandwagon and say, no, you're not messing with my stuff. You're not doing a new dub on mine, or a new whatever it's called on mine, a new mix. And whereas TikTok just don't care, just stick their two fingers up and just do it anyway.
Well, was there not something in the news recently about how TikTok is under a lot of scrutiny for what what they are doing?
They are, to be fair. I mean, my throwaway comment there was probably outdated, because these days they are trying to make sure they don't get banned. And there was something about Joe Biden last week, wasn't there? Oh, that's right. He's putting campaign adverts on TikTok for his upcoming election thingy. And there's a big hoo-ha about that in the news. Joe Biden using TikTok, this dreadful Chinese company.
Sure, Donald Trump's furious.
Anyway, yeah, so, TikTok are trying to comply now and make sure they don't get banned in the EU and banned in America and blah, blah. I think there are still some American states where it is banned, but mostly they're not.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll see going forward. You do like your TikTok, and that I'm not going to make a comment about that, but that's fine. All right, Tech Radar has put up an interesting little article about OpenAI and their new Sora text-to-video model that can make shockingly realistic content. And we saw some of this from Marquis Brown earlier in the week. He put out a video illustrating just exactly how good it can be. Ted, what can we expect? Are we going to see live videos that we won't be able to believe our eyes when we see the news?
Yeah, absolutely. He was in his video, which we'll link to in the show notes. It's a 12-minute video. He demonstrates what we had a year ago and how we were kind of blown away by the same kind of modelling of text to video a year ago, and how crap it looks now. And he's demonstrated with a good number in his review video on YouTube, a good number of these new ones using this Sora software, and it is shockingly realistic. And he's quite concerned about it, really, as a content creator, because a lot of the stuff that he was showing on his video, you can just about tell. The point he was making was that we're coming in looking at this stuff from a place where we're looking at the technology, so we're expecting to see it. But if you just stumbled into that video and saw it, you weren't looking at it as an AI creation, you probably wouldn't notice. You have to look close to notice. And I would encourage listeners to just click on the link and go and watch the video, because it's just eye-opening, amazing what they can do. And it's going to change the landscape, I think, of how stuff is created, and it's going to put people out of jobs that have previously kind of been doing this stuff manually or whatever. And it will just create a whole network flood internet creation thing, like we have been used to now doing with tools like Bing image creator, but with video, and it's just amazing. Did you watch the video?
I did. I had a quick flick through it earlier on this morning. I did see it the other day for watching, but I didn't have enough time to watch the whole thing. Yeah. It's very worrying. I think more for the point of view. It's great that you can illustrate things that maybe you wouldn't be able to illustrate otherwise, but you can just go out and create something that's not true and get people to believe it. I know there's lots of people out there who want to be able to believe something, and if they can't see it, then they can't believe it. But if someone can go and generate something that maybe isn't... I'm thinking of Alan here, actually, from the Projector Room podcast. Mm-hmm. He'll be all over this and furious that this kind of thing can exist. Yeah.
We'll see if a Hollywood film that's created like this, that with the next thing.
Well, I mentioned earlier on about how I'm watching a lot of videos about them trying to discover Planet X, or the ninth planet out there on the fringes of the solar system. Mm-hmm. And the videos that go along with that might be using a bit of footage that's a number of years old, or they're just trying to find any sort of sci-fi type footage that can help illustrate the point that they're making, or the news article that they're talking about. So AI will certainly be able to assist with that and put in some placeholder imagery, but it's got to have some kind of digital signature so that you can easily tell that what you're seeing is generated and not real. You talk about Ukrainian war and what Russian strategies might be. You see where they've taken maybe footage from a different war and litter it into the current war and say, these are things that are happening right now. These atrocities are happening right now, to develop a public reaction. That's very easy to do with AI. So we need to have some sort of fail-safe built in that can point out. Watermarks don't exactly work because they can be removed, but there has to be some way whenever these are released that links in with, say, YouTube, and it's able to recognize the footage as generated from here and be able to say, this is not real, across the top.
Yeah, I think initially, or sometime soon, this will be picked up by advertisers. That's what came to mind, really, is that you've got some company, I don't know, Zoom recorders, who have got a new Zoom recorder out, and they want to create an advert for the telly or for YouTube or whatever, and instead of paying a film crew to go out and film it, they just use some words in Sora and it'll do it for them. And actually it's so good that no one will tell the difference anyway. All you'll get is the fact that the film crew and the production team are on the dole now, and it's been done on the cheap. Now you could argue that, well, the net result of that is that the Zoom recorder will be cheaper, but I'm sure it wouldn't be, would it?
No, I can't imagine that actually being an eventuality of this at all. Mm-hmm. The one thing I would personally love to be able to do is go back, and I'd love going onto YouTube and seeing where they've used kind of deep fakery, and they've got maybe Timothy Dalton appearing in For Your Eyes Only, or Roger Moore appearing in Casino Royale, that kind of thing, where you can just superimpose someone else's face and get a feel for what the movie might have been like had Roger Moore appeared in Daniel Craig's Casino Royale. Mm-hmm. That's a real fun use of it, I reckon, but it does have, in order to achieve that, you have some severe problems that can come along, and people can stand up and pretend to be Joe Biden announcing something, put it out, and scaremonger.
Yeah.
Could cause a riot, could cause harm to life or whatever if it's not true at all.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
This happened, didn't it? About a month ago, where Biden was, he was touching a girl's lapel or something, putting a pin on her lapel or something, and somebody had cooked it up to make it look as though that he touched her boob instead. Did you not see that story?
I don't think I saw that one, but I've heard of that happening a lot of times. I'm not. I don't want to get into that because that's an ongoing conspiracy.
Okay.
That he might have done things like that in the past, and
Okay.
yeah, it's a whole rat hole, not rat hole, rabbit hole.
Say no more.
Okie doke. Moving into Google Gallows and Chrome Coroner. Let's try and do this without some controversy there, Ted.
Yeah, I do apologise. Google Chrome is getting an Android-like media player. You know the media player we get in our phones now, which is, it's got that kind of scrub line thing going on and all the rest of it. Well, at the moment, if you've got a tab in Chrome on your desktop running a piece of audio, you get up in the top right hand corner. You can click on a link, and it gives you controls over the audio that's playing. But this is going to make that kind of comply with material use stuff and make it very pretty and very Android-like. The second story is Google One, which has now reached 100 million subscribers. Now, at first, I thought to myself, oh, yeah, but they pre-install this on all the phones, so no wonder they got 100 million. But it's not people that have it installed. It's people that are actually subscribing. So there must be something about Google One that people are using and appreciating. 100 million subscribers. Google's reading mode now works in Gmail and social media apps. Well, it doesn't in the UK, I can tell you, because I tested this out since I did this. Apparently, if you use the reading mode on your Android phone, or maybe on iPhone as well, I don't know, you are supposed to be able to get it to read your Gmails out for you. But when I tried, and social media apps, when I tried on any of mine on my phone, different phones as well, it just didn't work. So I'm guessing that's a USA only thing again. And
That'd be nice, actually. I'd like that.
You'd like that? I can't imagine it supporting MeWe, mind you. And lastly, they revamped on Android. I don't know if you've noticed this. This is available now, and I've used it, and it's quite interesting. They've revamped the whole reply thing. So if someone sends you an email and you open it up on your phone and you want to reply to them, you now get this kind of dinky little box that comes up at the bottom of the screen where you type straight into that your reply. So no longer is it just emoji, which they did a while ago, but now you get an actual reply box, just like you would in Google Chat or something, or probably WhatsApp. I don't use WhatsApp, but I'm guessing that's very similar to that. So that's quite interesting, and I've seen that working, and I have used it. So there you go, 4 stories from the Chrome Coroner.
Yeah, being able to read out your emails, it is quite good, but it does mean that someone's reading your emails. They will have direct access to the content that's in there and be able to build a profile. But you've been using Gmail for years, so they have that anyway. Yeah. Yeah. Reading it out loud would certainly save you time. You can walk around the kitchen doing stuff, and I can still stay in touch with.
There are other ways of doing it, of course. There are tools that you can use that just read anything that's on your screen. I think we've spoken about it before, but this is a kind of baked into Google's reading mode thingy.
Yeah. Pretty cool. I do like Google Reader. It's a good tool. It's useful. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that about brings us toward the end. We're going to be going into Bargain Basement now. We're not doing Harkback this week because it's getting on a bit, and it ends 132, and I'm sure Ted doesn't feel $1 million as he normally does. So we'll jump into Bargain Basement and carry on with there. Okay. So Ted, you're up for the first one, actually. The first, it's a lithium battery.
Yeah, you don't want that in Northern Ireland. The first one is these 2 power banks, which have been reduced to, I think, probably the lowest price they've been. The Anker 24,000 milliamp hour one with the 140 watt output, with that display, the LED readout on the front, which we've spoken about a number of times, is now reduced down to $89.99 from 140, and also the 20,000 milliamp hour 200 watt version has been reduced down from 129 to 85.99. So yeah, we've mentioned those a few times. I don't think they've been that cheap, so I just thought I'd mention that for anyone looking out for a very powerful and good fun display kind of power bank.
Yeah, that's an excellent price. And it's not available to me in Northern Ireland, so having a quick look around the internets, I can't better it. I really can't. Amazon is killing it there. And they do this price quite frequently as well. Looking at Keepa, it's up and down and up and down and up and down. So, yeah.
Have you seen that new thing? Well, I think it's new in Amazon listings. See if you've got it in a Northern Ireland. If you, it's disappeared.
Oh, right. Okay.
It said see price history. Why is that gone? So instead of using Keeper, you could let's try the next one. Have you got an Amazon? Yeah, there's an Amazon. Can you believe it? It's gone. Yeah, I swear to you, yesterday there was a link there that said see price history, and you didn't need to use Keeper. It told you what was what. Anyway, sorry, ignore me. Back to you.
Well, that's interesting. That'd be great if Amazon was to bring that in. It's something that people should be aware of, that what they're paying on the day might not be the final price.
I'll try.
Well, not the final price, but the...
Oh, here it is. Right, if you click on my last one, my space one, the anchor ones, right? So just underneath...
Spoiler.
Oh, yeah. So I'll do that now, shall I? Soundcore by Anchor, space one, headphones. Fabulous. $71.99. They're really, really good. I bought a pair and reviewed them, and then I gave them to my sister for Christmas, and she loves them. And then they've got a lovely blue colour going on with that. So anyway, that's really nice. At 90 quid, it's down to $71.99. Now, just below where it says the pricing, there's a link there that says see price history. Do you see that?
No.
No. So
No.
underneath the RRP 89.99 ruled out, and above the Prime 1 day. Nope. Well,
Nothing
I'm
there.
seeing that, and when I click on it, it pops it up, and it gives a very Keeper-like interface and tells you. But it's obviously only on some items and not others, and in some areas and not others, by the looks of it.
Yeah, for some people, but not others. That's
Yeah.
interesting. It's a useful feature, and that's a good-looking set of headphones. I like those. Space One? I haven't heard of those before, actually.
Yeah, I did them on the show a while back.
Did you?
Yeah, they're really nice. That as usual with Soundcore Anchor stuff, they punch way above their weight. Really good battery, good ANC. They're really good. I say my sister loves them. She thinks they're great.
Yeah, this is the lowest they've been ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Groovy. All right. Well, I'm going to go with something a little bit different. This is the RII. This is a new dual-mode wireless multimedia keyboard with a touchpad. These are becoming increasingly popular, especially if you've got like an Android TV or a smart TV or something like that, or some sort of media solution in your living room. And it allows you to be able to interact with it in a better way. It's got an illuminated LED backlit keyboard. So you can use it at night without struggling. It's got a D-pad, the touchpad, as I said. It's got a roller, and it's got joy pads as well. It's got all kinds of buttons that you would expect to be able to find. I suppose you can use it for a bit of gaming, maybe, but I wouldn't recommend it. But where TVs require some sort of remote that you might have to type in your email address or something like this, this kind of got you covered. Or if you've got a media center PC, just to go back 20 odd years there, or something under your TV that just requires that little bit of extra input, this will be able to do it, and it's down in price from £24 down to £16 and 49p. And I don't see any particularly negative reviews about it. The build quality appears to be very good. It's compatible with Windows, Mac OS, Linux, Android, Smart TV, Xbox, and PlayStation 4. Doesn't mention PlayStation 5, but I can't imagine it would have too much of a problem. It's got a USB Type-C charging port on the bottom of it, so you don't have to worry about putting those bloody AA batteries in there. It's got a wee USB dongle that you plug into whatever it is you happen to be using, and away you go. I think it's pretty cool. What do you think?
Replaceable battery.
Yes.
So you can charge it with the USB-C, but you can actually get the battery out and put a new one in. I presume you can buy one.
I believe you can, yes.
Yeah, very nice.
It connects over a 2.4G wireless network. There is another one that is Bluetooth. They do a whole range of ones, but this one seems to be dropped down in price and comprises of everything that you could possibly want from a multimedia remote control for your TV.
Excellent. Very nice indeed.
Nice.
Right, okay then. The next one is yours as well, isn't it?
Oh, it might be. Oh, it is, actually. Ooh, right, okay. This is over on Amazon. They're having a wee bit of a sale on the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra. It's down to £769, which is really cheap. It's the Wi-Fi only version, but it's a 512 gigabyte version, so it's really big. And it comes with the 3-year manufacturer warranty as well. I just thought that was one of the best prices we've seen in a long time. Was it just last week looking at Keepa? It was £1,189 and 60p, whereas now it's £769. I think that's great. I don't have any of those buy now, pay laters or pay over 6 months on it. Maybe Ted, you have. But
oh yeah, I have.
I don't
5 months at 153.80.
Oh, right, okay. How come you're getting that, you bastard? Right. Well, yeah, I think that's one of the best prices for the... But it's a huge tablet, that's 14.6. So you might need to buy a trailer or something to put on your car if you're taking it with you somewhere.
It'd be great to watch media on, though, wouldn't it? It's a television, really, and as opposed to a tablet. Very nice.
That's a point. You get Disney Plus for 12 months with this as well as one of the Samsung Galaxy perks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where I got my Disney Plus for a year from the S8.
Very good. Okay, the Samsung Evo 512 gigabyte micro SD card is next. U3 reduced from 40 quid to 34.99. And that looks like a great card, really. I can't believe how cheap these have become. These cards. They, when I was first using these in my mobile phones, just not that long ago, really. And the prices of these, a 512 gigabyte was like 200 quid, and a 1 terabyte when it first came out was 450. And they're just peanuts now. 35 quid for half a terabyte. Amazing.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's a good, reliable card as well. It's not some sort of cheap knockoff that you're getting from the boils of Amazon. This is Samsung branded and the real McCoy from the Samsung store. Nice, 35 quid. That's brilliant. All right, a bit of a PC internal here. It's a Corsair RM850E, not the X, the E. This is a modular low noise ATX power supply that you can put into your self-built computer. And it's got its ATX 3.0, PCIe 5.0 compliant, 105 degree C-rated capacitors inside of it. So it's, I think it basically boils down to the capacitors are from China as opposed to the X, which has capacitors from Japan. I don't know that is one of the big differences, but I believe that's one of the differences. I saw that somewhere between the E and the X whenever I was buying a power supply a number of years ago. It might have changed, but that was something that someone told me at the time. This is the 2023, obviously, version, so it's the latest version of it, and it's Corsair branded, so it should be a very reliable PSU. If you're building a computer or you're changing out your graphics card and need to have the appropriate modular connections to be able to hook up the multitude of connectors that the new graphics card has. I think they require 26 now as opposed to 2 or something to that effect. I know I panicked whenever I was putting in my new graphics card a wee while ago. It's only the 6800 XTX, but I was starting to worry that my PSU didn't have enough to be able to hook that beast up. But the 490s and things that are coming out now, I think, require 4 connectors as opposed to 2, which is wild, I tell you. But yes, it's down in price from £140 to £96. I have seen people say that they generally pay about £100 for these, so it's still £4 cheaper than what you can expect to pay.
Very good. Okay, next is something that you had your eye on a while ago, the new Elgato Stream Deck Plus, which was released at 200 quid, and this is the first time I've ever seen it go down to 159.99. They just wouldn't budge on price on this for such a long time. And now, as long as you're okay with the white version and not the black one, it seems, it's 159.99 with all the dials and knobs and buttons and all the fun that you could have with that one. So there you go, the Stream Deck Plus.
The white one, though? that does scream at you. Yeah, they're selling the black one, but not the white one.
Yeah.
So they've dropped the price of the white one.
Mm-hmm.
There's too many in storage.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gorgeous looking device. I'd love to have one. I would pick one up if they were doing the payments for me, but I don't fancy laying out £160 on one right today. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you getting any payments on that?
No.
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 Okay. All right. The next one is something that my wife pitched to me the other day. She talked about moving our TV from the stand that it's currently sitting on in the corner of the living room to above the hearth. For those who don't know, hearth is a type of fireplace. This is the Bondtech TV wall bracket. And having a look at some of the brackets and the wall mounts and things like that for TVs, this was the one that really looked like it was the business. It's got a lot going on for the money because it's dropped in price from £39 down to £32.29, and then you can apply a 30% off voucher. And I don't think this actually works out in my head math-wise, but the 30% off voucher brings it down to £18.47, which is what it works out as shipped. So, I don't know, maybe the 30% off voucher is 30% off the £39, so it's a wee bit more. I don't know. My maths is terrible, but it works out to, if you want to buy it today from Amazon, it's £18.47. This, it's a wall bracket that has a lot of adjustability for the price. Generally, whenever you're paying about 20 quid for a wall bracket, it is just you stick it up on the wall. This has a whole rotational type thing and a tilt, and you can pull it out and push it in and angle it to the left and right and all sorts of things. So it can sit out from the wall a good bit if you want, so you can get behind it and tinker around with those bits and pieces that are in there. It's an excellent looking unit. And I'm really considering, if my wife talks me into moving it on above the hearth, to picking up one of these and doing it that way. And apparently it's really easy to fit as well. So there you go. £18 and whatever p. The swivel tilt TV wall mount, full motion, heavy duty, strong, solid, dual arms, up to 60 kilograms, max VESA, 600 by 400 millimeter, with an HDMI cable. Oh, I didn't read that bit. It comes with an HDMI cable as well.
And a spirit level.
The spirit level's probably built in.
Oh, is it? It shows it being separate, but yes, it might be. You're quite right.
No, you're right. I think it is a separate unit. So yeah, you get a wee spirit level with it too. Excellent. Things are looking like I might be wall mounting the TV in the living room. I don't want to. I like the TV stand, because then you've got to worry about cables and the PlayStation and the Android TV, all these things. Don't know. I'll continue to think, but that's in the back of my mind.
Well, it's
and I'll
good
have to
and
do
cheap,
it before that deal runs out.
Yeah,
it is.
Don't miss the deal.
No, maybe just order it and set it aside. I'm sure I'll use it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
We're done.
Oh, we're done?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That was
Your
the
one
last.
that you skipped forward
Yeah.
to. Grand. Well, okay. Well, if you want to get in touch with us, you can. You can email us at gareth@techaddicts.uk. You can also find us on Twitter as well, at techaddictsuk. I'm on Twitter too, at Gareth Miles, GarethMyles. I also have my Mastodon as well, and there is a website at garethmiles.com where you can find out a little bit more about me and read bits and pieces, and there's other stuff there too. Ted, where can they find you?
They can find me at tedsalmon.com, where there's links to all the audio podcasts, all the MeWe groups, the whole lot. So do head across there and click away. If you want to buy me a coffee, you can do that. It's at paypal.me/. Ted Salmon, and I hope by our next show in 2 weeks' time I'll feel better and the doctor will have fixed my body.
Your body, right, not your bottle. Right, okay. And also, hopefully we'll be doing Projector Room as well if Ted hasn't succumbed to the lurgy that is currently working on him. All right, well, we'll catch us all next week, or in 2 weeks' time even. 2 weeks' time. Take care, everyone, and have a lovely time.
Bye.